Yo, Kashar, yo, you're all ready. It's good, man. Yeah, it's popping on for a little bit. I think last time I said I was going to be better about it, and then I didn't come on for a while. So, yeah, figured to jump on. I should have more time soon. I think I figured it out. End of March. I'm I'm technically done with full time end of this week, and then back to the freelance world, where I'll probably have more time to do like longer streams and um, yeah, more regular streams. Like I don't have like right now it's 7 a.m. So this is kind of like the morning pre-work type stuff. Um, I'm just gonna get my ugly face off this screen. Where the fuck are controls? Um, yeah, so I've been working on a couple different projects. See where we can start. Buttons. Um, yeah, go to sketch. I know not. This. Oh no, button's moving. Sketch. Yeah, branding. Cool. All right, we'll move on. No. um, yeah, so I'm working on branding for a friend who's a shaper, kind of coming on and helping out. Um, so this has kind of been my world for a little bit. Well, I can kind of step back. For anyone who wasn't here last time, talked about see if this is the right window. Well, that's the branding, but oh, that's not. Ah, shit. That was the PDP page I'm working on. So I'm doing design and dev for this right now. And yeah, if you haven't checked it out, sokostores.com. They have this newsletter to sign up for. I know I'm slanging this pretty hard, but I don't know. It's been cool to work on this one. Content's crazy. The designs, it's very different from where my head's at these days. So yeah, the full site's coming. You kind of got a peek at the PDP page, but it's learning a lot of shit about Webflow doing this. So that's fun. Learning about like you can apply masks to background filters. So you can see like it has like a soft like ramp basically for the background filter, which just takes a little bit of custom code to do. But I think it helps a lot. And with so many different background colors in this, like it sucks here. I tried doing like different colors over different places, but then it fucks with the like underlying color. And then I thought about doing duplicate ones. It's just like way more problem than it's worth. Um, but yeah, so that was kind of interesting to learn. I'm doing a lot more of that kind of stuff with this project. It's all like soft blurs and everything's like very slow, like it's kind of like a brand thing, like they're all about like anti-fast fashion. So how does that manifest in this? You know is what it is. It's a little flimsy at times. A nice little orphan here, that's fun. um but yeah, this one's it's interesting because it's like I'm basically doing all the design and the branding was very loosely set up. But yeah, I'm like working with two other creative people who also have opinions and it's their thing at the end of the day. I'm kind of coming on after, so it's like it's not as much of a partnership as I was hoping. So, um collaborations with other creative people I'm finding is very interesting unless you work in like different worlds entirely. Even with some of the branding projects, let me go back to sketch. Probably saying too much, but I don't really give a shit. Um, Sketch. Sal, yo, what's good, my man? Um, Kashara, I did check it out. Looks pretty clean. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, the full site's gonna be cool. There's some fun stuff in there. It's like, yeah, doing like development for other people. It's a whole learning experience. Like, there's also that Tavarua website. Fuck, am I really gonna bounce back again? I guess so. asking myself questions. This is already worrisome. Oh, that's good. The font doesn't load. So this site is actually launching in March 1st. This is the same thing. Like from a design perspective, like this shit's pretty fucking boring to me. Like I don't, and it's got all sorts of problems loading in individually. I got to go through and like fix a lot of problems with this. Um, yeah, how the transitions happen. But doing like design and dev, like I don't know, because I'm so limited and people, I don't know, they want to see, I don't know, like how I'm helping people, like it doesn't let me like go get weird with it. Kind of like pushes me into this safe world, which, you know, there's nice things about this, but I don't want this in my portfolio at the end of the day. It's like, it's not. Maybe the Ahsoka project, like just because the content, and I think it puts me in a world that's so different from shit that I'm doing in like my site. Like, oh shit, there's range. I don't just do one thing. But yeah, like this to me, I don't really want to talk about it. Like I'm here talking about it because it's like the first one I did as a design and dev with other people. But um it's like I don't think I want to dev for other people. Maybe if I'm brought on like a partnership, like with the Dank project. But yeah. How's the cathedral gig going? It's good, man. Doing a lot of like wild shit, getting into some branding still. Um, yeah, it's going really well. Really like everyone there. They're like super, super good people. Um, so I mean, just figure it out. Um, yeah, I don't know when I can show some of the stuff I've been working on with them. I have to talk about, I don't know, didn't read the fine print on like when I can actually show it. But yeah, there's some really fun stuff. A couple big branding projects that's coming out. Um, one came out kind of, but it like I don't know if I can fully show like process. Another one in the works, which is crazy. And it actually has it's like the basis of the logo I made or like branding I made for it, which is kind of cool because I haven't done a lot of that. But yeah, it's good, man. How you doing, Sal? You cruising, man? Back in the Webflow world? Um, yeah, so I guess I've talked about doing branding on here, but I've never really done it. So I can just do a quick run through of what I got to this point. So, there's a shaper, his name's Dan Cobley. Um, they called him Dan C, which then turned into Dank. I think I talked about on a previous stream, like we're trying to go for a little bit more of like a high-end model. And there's been some dissonance about whether Dank is a premium brand. I wonder if this. So I made a whole different brand. Maybe I show it. Fuck it. Here. I like so it's a brand that's gonna become mine. Like I want to do my own stuff with it, and I kind of want to have it based off like spinning off of surfboards as well. Um, see if I can get this the right window. The fuck showing up in showing up. Here we go. Yeah. So this is more like where my head's at these days. So yeah, it's like a fuck, it's like 200-page book, like going through all like these touch points, products, collateral, like yeah, it's like fucking all over. Um the idea, so it's called affect because the whole thing is like um difference is his boards actually like feel really good. There's a lot of other boards out there. There's like premium boards and it's all like marketing link and all that shit. but it's like people ride his boards and they try his boards like, oh sick, this board like surfs really well. Then they go like buy like a lost board or something and they spend like twice as much and they're like, yeah, this is okay, but they always like come back or they're like, hey, can you make me a board that's like this other one, like like in this shape, but can you make it surf better? So it's all about like catching feelings, which also is part of it. I won't bore too much into this, but this is kind of where my head's been at lately and why I haven't really been streaming. I've been working through this. Um, and yeah, so it's like, it's kind of in like the Russian constructivist world, which I very much leaned into. Where is it? Yeah, like if you paid attention in your art history classes, you should recognize this shit. Um, but yeah, this shit looks like Christmas Carol patterns or something. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so this is it's just this photography. There's so much shit that needs to get updated. It's like I kept like sticking and moving, and then I realized that like legibility problems with the word mark. It's like, man, fuck. But I do want to build this and like make it real at some point. Like went in and designed like hats and fins and shirts and shit and coming up with taglines, so like form to function. So it's an idea of like it's shaped, the boards are shaped to function. Like that's kind of the primary thing. Because he does beautiful boards, but it's not like boutique high-end shit that you see from like the price point he's after. So it's like we're gonna do more like simple, refined like visuals, but you know, it's gonna be yeah, they're just gonna surf better. That's kind of the whole thing. And just like keeping it casual, it's like because if you know him, he's like super fucking casual. So leaning into all this like stupid things like casual AF, affect, yeah. So ride waves, catch feelings, all this like stupid little things, and you know, it's not a logo if it doesn't have a globe. All these like badging and shit like that. I don't know how small this is on screen, but for you guys, but yeah, this is fun. Russian constructivism, brutalism, uh got into some Japanese characters and shit like that. I don't even know. A lot of edibles were had to get to this brand. Um Looking at different like badge models, if there's like the Reaper or Reaper series or something like that, it's all black. Um yeah, this shit's fun. Holy shit. Kevin, yo, what's up, man? Just want to share. You've been a very big inspiration to me, especially for the semester where I've been taking a lot of web design prototyping classes. You're a legend, man. Holy shit, man. That's way too kind. Dude, thank you for the support, man. I know you picked up the font. I appreciate that. I mean, shit that you've been posting on the gram, man. Um, it's wild. It seems like if you're doing a lot of design and prototyping classes, like you seems like you're pretty fucking gnarly with 3D as well. Some of like the renders you were, I remember. Because that's wild. Like, yeah, yeah, those renders you were doing, fucking bananas, man. Pull this shit up. Hope you don't mind me sharing. Did I type it right? Probably not. Oh, I definitely did not. This is not. Yeah. Shit. How are we doing this? Chrome? Oh. Yeah, so Mr. Kevin Valette? Is that how you say it? Dude, this shit is dope as hell, man. Like the color grade on it, the form factor, like the rendering on it. I'm a fan, man. Like this shit is crazy. Like, yeah, the fact that like you're grinding like the prototyping stuff and you're um still got this in your back pocket of being able to do 3D shit, man, you're gonna be a fucking monster. These texturings and shit. This looks like the stuff that like Carlos does, like Color Sponge. He's just like a texture monster, man. Yeah, Mr. Color Sponge right there. I mean, like I was lucky enough to see some of like the renders like really high res and just like the attention to detail and shit is just fucking crazy. And like some of like the wear patterns and stuff that you have going on yours, like in the wheel well, like on like the front of the wing on the spoiler. It's all those little details that like I mean Carlos, yeah, some of the stuff with like my mock-ups where I have the prints hanging from like the metal brackets. If you think about like the screws that are being used to kind of tighten those in there, like adding like the wear marks on that. Like if you're gonna do compositing and shit like that, man, it makes it real if you think about those details of like what happens if this is actually used. But yeah, anyways, man, hopefully I'm somewhat helpful on the design and prototyping. If you have any questions or anything, definitely hit me up, man. Or if you want to ask them here, definitely don't be shy. Um, yeah, flattering for sure, man. I appreciate it. So living the dream one day at a time. We start a new gig. So let's fuck compare to the agency world. I like the fact that I'm not on 10 different client projects, but goddamn, I need it to be faster. Yeah, man, I hear you. It's like it can be a tough transition. I'll say that. Um, like getting into because I got bored when I went to Apple. I was just like, holy shit! Like I'm so bored, and the stuff that I do is like such a narrow window. I tried to leave after like 2 months, 3 months, um, but kind of got over that and started, uh, you know, I made the most of like the little sandbox I could play in. It was like, fuck, I can't do like big picture stuff like I used to do at agency. I'm just like grinding on like a gallery, the like the progress indicator. Like that's the how small my world is right now. But you work with all these crazy devs and it's like, well, fuck it. Like if this is my world, like I'm just gonna go wild with it or try and push. Like you can't really go wild at on these big product companies. But congrats on the new gig, Mr. Sal. That's awesome. Um, yeah, agency side, like the traditional agency side is like just a fucking meat grinder, man. I'm it's great when you're junior, but once you get past junior level, it's like I don't know. Starts falling off real quick if you ask me. Like yeah, once you get above like art director, like it's good to art direct at agencies because you can just like kind of iterate, try something new, get experience in one little world, and then you move on to something else. Um, Whereas like if you're in-house, you kind of get stuck in like you're not really art, you're an art director, but you don't really art direct in the traditional sense, at least in my head. I think it's probably skewed because it's my experience of art directing, but um I don't know. I feel like that's the way to like be more diverse is to go in an agency and just like be an art director and try all sorts of different shit. Like get thrown like a cosmetic brand. I don't think I ever nailed that. I tried. Came out okay. Not my strong suit. Um yeah. Good for you, man. Yeah, like the big thing is like going to product companies, I think is like when you're at a position of power, like where you can actually impact change. is like a middle ground where it's like you don't want to be there unless you're at a position where you can actually change things or impact things. If you're just like the executional arm of someone else higher up who doesn't have time to get into the designs, and you're used to being a little bit more freewheeling, you're not gonna have a lot of fun. But that's kind of where I'd like to go back to a product company at some point, but like creative director type level. But the problem is I don't have creative director on my resume because I chose not to go that path. So it's kind of holding me back because people don't look at me as that. I've also recontextualized myself as a collaborator, a creator and a collaborator, and like people looking at me for creative director, they don't see creative director on there. So they're just like, well, shit, like next. Like they don't, I bet you they don't even look at my book because people they don't have the bandwidth to dive in and really like, I don't know, care to know that like I worked at places as a design director, and like people are not that interested. Um, that's random tangents. Sorry. If you're new to the stream, I ramble a lot, especially when I have coffee. Oh, and it's on my list of to-dos, but been watching streamers. I want to test it first. I want to do like one song, but if you apparently if you split the audio to the I don't know, I guess it's to Streamlabs. Um you can kind of like split the audio in channels, so it has me fucking rambling and all my desktop audio, but then I can separate the um like the if I play like Spotify or something. So that won't show up in the recording, which I think is what gets flagged. I don't think you get live strikes for copyright claims. So we'll try that though. I think I got a couple strikes to spare. I've been a good boy lately. Because yeah, I'd love to get something going, which I should get. Just because it sounds like dead air behind me. A little rain. Hasn't rained in California and LA in fucking months. No, it's been like a month. If I leave LA, it'll rain. That's the thing. I left LA, it rained, it went to Seattle, it didn't fucking rain. Like it drizzled. Say that. Um First time catching you live. Hey, still here though. Yeah. Appreciate you coming through though. I'm kind of an idiot. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm awkward in front of the camera. Um so yeah, if that's the sales pitch, you know. Oh, but yeah, and if like this is what I'm kind of diving in on branding. I've got like the Webflow site I've been working on of this. Um, but I'm kind of need to circle back to branding. Got some notes. I sent this around to people. Um, I guess I could talk. I kind of like skipped over this and then just fucking took off, made a hard left, and I don't know where we ended up. Um, but so like the one thing with this is like it's trying to be universal in its appeal, but um, it's a very masculine, very technical sort of type. And I tried, like, I was like, oh shit, like, let's just like look at all these things. Like, it was between like Dank, it was between like Cobley, because that's his last name. It was just like, well, shit, let's just like put a range. And it's like, is it Dan C, but it almost plays into the K, so it looks like K? No. One thing I'm learning, like, sending stuff around, like, especially with branding, like, I try and be too fucking clever. And like, it's not good. I need to stop, like knock this shit off. So if we go to Chrome, I need to go to my own thing, but all right, my site's so broken, by the way, if anyone ever goes there. It works. It's just the visuals and like I started adding lines and yeah, it's not good. This looks awful. Why is this letter spacing so fucked? Nice kerning problem. That's fun. Yeah, this delta branding. It's like there's a lot of shit baked into it, but like no one knows what the fuck it is. I bet you people don't even know how to read that. So this is like the web designer in me overthinking branding. I actually don't like the spacing. Oh, I remember why. I went back and forth. Because this is another thing. Like, you look at it and it like looks like the kerning's all fucked up. But like the VW from the logo is I was like, oh shit, I'll like put that in my logo. So it is literally there. There's like the slash and the V that makes up the upside down A, which is also a symbol of, I think, traffic flow or something like that, which is also like part of a delta. Just like no one gives a fuck. Like that's where it gets into these um I don't know, it gets into those like pentagram like PDF like 100-page PDFs talking about why they selected like a curve. Like, no one fucking cares. Like great. It like follows all these like ancient ratios that fucking no one sees. Like no one cares. That's just like design fluffery and at least in my book. I'm sure it is technically better to some degree, but you know, whatever. Like I don't subscribe to that, I guess. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of an anomaly. I'm just like a beach bum who just didn't leave the computer. I'm like kind of a caveman about this shit. Yeah, just type explorations. He's font based, like screenshot shit. There is another application for managing fonts because somehow in 2022, managing fonts and previewing shit is still just like awful. Like I'm using Figma trying to do branding and like going through my fonts, it pulls up all these like Misto system fonts that I just don't even know exist. Like if I have to see what is it, no Nato Sans and Sticks, like so I just start going through the list because there's no fucking way to like preview it. I got a Mac Pro and in font book, my computer chugs if I like search for a font, like it just locks up. It's like, okay, that was a tough ask. All right, I'll stop complaining. You changed your portfolio site a lot since I saw it. Looks dope though. Hey, thanks. Manure? Men. Oh shit. Men. Manure. I think. I'm really bad with names, so don't get too offended. Well, thank you. Yeah, I changed it a lot. I guess I can. I gotta get these buttons just like. I'm stuck. If I open this up. Let's go to, sorry, my Stream Deck, it like keeps like trying to change and then I have to go like change to the Stream Deck app to then be able to see my scenes. Is this working? I covered it. Yeah, so I'm trying to get into like more like brutalist type stuff, but then I didn't really commit. Oh, that's good. The logo doesn't go to the homepage. Sweet. Love it. Um, Updated the homepage for content. This is sitting too high. See, there's like things I change, but then I don't track them all. And then it just looks all wrong. But then I've come to realize like most people don't see it or care. All these like in between states where I'm just like, well, what happens if I do this? Like, it's like all fucked up. But yeah, there's a bit of a clarity issue going on. You can't even see those. I bet you most people don't even know this is a carousel. Um, this is what I was just showing, affect. I can probably just change that. I've got the domain registered. Um, yeah, trying to bring like more to the homepage because I think there's a steep fall off. Like people don't want to go to collaborations, and if they do, uh, this is what greets them. This hero is just dog shit. The grid's okay. The CTAs are still a work in progress. But yeah, it's like, oh, I guess I right clicked my own site. That's fine. Um, Yeah, I'm like midway between a rethink of it, of like scrapping collaborations, just like simplifying. So glad you like it though. I appreciate it. Sketch. We back. Something catchy about Dank. Oh, something about Dank is seriously catchy. Yeah, it's catchy. It's just like it just sounds like drug speak or like I don't know, beach bum type stuff. Um, so it's like if you're trying to charge a higher price point, like you don't want to be like, yeah, this is fucking dank. Like you want to be a little more buttoned up. Which Dan C, and like you tell people the genesis of the name and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I've been out in the water, um, and had some like, hey, like who makes your board? You're like, oh yeah, dank. Like there's just like a moment of dissonance. Or it's like, really? That's the name they went with? But then you're like, yeah, his name's Dan Cobley, Dan C. But we don't have that sort of liberty to explain things to people. So that's what I'm starting to realize more and more with branding. And this is like more type exercise than anything. It's not really, it is branding, but there's like no substance behind it. It's just like he's scared of this logo being out in the wild, changing to a new logo, but people not understanding that it's the same company, which to me in my head, like I literally sent him, if I can pull it up. I was like, yo, like brands change. Like this shit is normal. People understand it. They expect it at this point. Like we want to, because he's been like the value buy, so it's like we're trying to get more premium. So I think we need to do it in conjunction, like rebrand in conjunction with any sort of like pivot as a brand. And that's why I started asking people. So if you guys have any thoughts about like, let me see if I can pull up the current, or which one? This one. Oh, so yeah, so this has been a couple days in the making. Still a work in progress. I finally learned how to do a marquee that doesn't stop at some point. It was out there the whole time. There was like a very straightforward tutorial on how to do it. Um, but yeah, this is all like work in progress. Ooh, it stopped? It stopped. Oh, that's not good. Maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Curious why. Is it not looping? Fetch test. No, it's page load. Etext loop. See? It's always something. So now it should loop. But yeah, so doing like a lot of stretching. So you can see like it has a top transform origin, so it like stretches down. So it's like almost like it's like stuck at the bottom and you're like pulling it up off the bottom. It's not quite there. Um, you can see I applied it to probably too many things. It doesn't work on text like that. And then it's all based on percentages. So for like when it completes and finishes a transition, um, it's kind of like a one size fits all unless I like create a whole system of stretches of like short content, tall content. Um, but yeah, I'm like bringing in some video. This is like mostly uncolor graded video. It's like very, very rough. And you can see like I slowed it down, but I also shot at the wrong frame rate, which is fun. So I got to go reshoot. Um, Shout out Tyler during the stream. Yeah, it's all my content, but then yeah, so it's like if you know Dan, he's very like no frills. Oh, that's the landing page. Um, yeah. Oh, yes. This is like the home page. It's got board models. You hover and arrows show up that go backwards, and there's random spaces in here that shouldn't be there. Uh-oh. I didn't make the Yeah, I didn't make the text long enough. My bad. Um, yeah. So any feedback, of course, welcome. So this is where I sent it to guy last night, who I sent it to people who aren't, they know the brand, but they don't really know design. So I kind of wanted to get both ends of the spectrum of like, as an evolution of the brand, like, what do you think? Is it good? Do you recognize it? Um, People said they did, but they didn't really have any critical feedback. One of my buddies, like unprompted, I don't know if it's like a Rorschach test type thing. He said he saw a dick in the A. Like, you know what? That's a stretch, man. I don't know what's on your mind right now, why that is what you see, but that's the feedback I got. Like, you never know what you're gonna get when you send it to people. Like, I love sending stuff to people who just aren't in the design world. Um, it's like, oh yeah, it's funny. Um, but yeah, messing with like different weights too. But like, given like this is where it's been, like I'm just trying to evolve off that. It's like some of the explorations of like maybe it connects and the A lives underneath this sort of up and down, so it's kind of like a wave going through it. Um, Maybe we start being reductive and start lopping pieces off. Um, the DC is an idea that doesn't quite work. Then I started pushing it, and it's like I really start like knocking out portions of the D and like to match the C. Kind of makes something interesting. Um, but then yeah, so when I sent it to actually Dan Farrow works at Cathedral. Um, it's like, yo, I need some like design feedback. And yeah, he had a good point that where's the original? Like, so this is what I had sent him was this basically. Um, just the fact that like the D and the N are sort of disjointed. Like this A and the C have this sort of like step to it, which isn't really incorporated anywhere else in the D and the N. Like there's a little bit of a dissonance between them. There's like these angled forms of the D and the N, and then I go out of my way to make any sort of like I recreate a step by doing um, this sort of like lo-fi, just like step. Um, and there's consistency things that need to get fixed too. I was working on some of the alignments last night of like, oh, I guess I moved it. Good. Of like where different things line up. And I'm doing it like crudely in Sketch. I need to like pull this into Illustrator and do it properly. Um, but it started looking at like alignments in general, angles. You could see there's like the width is not consistent between here and here. And I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, because sometimes with fonts, like different curves, like you need different, like there's all these optic things to pay attention to. So yeah, regardless, like I'm aware of some of these problems. I think like the alignment through here, I wanted this on the left side to align with this, but it's not. It gets too close, and I can't have that as the system. So right now it bisects this line, and it almost but it's weird. It like almost lines up with this, but doesn't. This causes me pain. Oh shit, let me get caught up. Looks a little too clean, needs more character defining the actual product. Yeah, so I think I wouldn't take the site too literally. Like I want to be pretty reductive with it, but I do want to start adding in different elements of see if I can pull up an example. Like a little more like characteristic to the brand. I want it to be a canvas, so it's largely neutral because it needs to live on boards. They're going to have all sorts of color. See if this works. If go. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let's play a video. Nope, it will not. I'm gonna do this without. I guess I could do desktop stream real fast. Sure, I don't have anything. Didn't have. Yeah, I think I'm okay. Sure. Actually, I don't think I have the right version. Hang on. Let's see. Let's go back to Chrome, actually. I think it lives in here. Here. No, that's just an image. No. Get on categories. I think. So it's got to bear with me on this for a second. It's not how it's supposed to be because it's also in like an exclusion blend mode. This is the best I can do for preview. But it's like looking at like different, like how do I use the logo as a canvas, trying to keep it like brutalist but playful. But looking at like data moshing type stuff with rainbows and bringing in flower textures and shit like that. Like just trying to offset it. So right now there's no real brand color, which I don't know. I might pull in the same blue from the other brand I showed earlier, Affect. But yeah, it needs a little bit more character. And I just started last night on the product page. This is like, I just pulled in here. I was like, I need something that has character or like something to it. So I just pulled in this. But the idea being that like each of these models are going to have their own sub brand to them. Like there's going to be a badge design for it. There's going to be custom type. There's probably going to be a bunch of wild colors. So that's the only thing I'm thinking about keeping like the overarching brand kind of neutral because we want to like infuse character through moments like this. But yeah, I hear you. I think that's good feedback for sure. I fucking yeah, feedback from randoms. If you ever want a gut check on how you're doing and like how's the general like public perception going to be of this, ask randoms. Arjun, yo, what's up, man? Tonio, yo, how goes it? McKenna, dang, people coming through. Without step, it looks good. Symmetric, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I think finding consistency in how the steps applied, because this is largely based on like an existing font. Like I modified the thickness of it. I had to like redraw some of it in order to thicken it up and make it more consistent. But I think some of these modifications, I kind of like keeping it simple, but I feel like, yeah, see, this is too far. I don't think like this becomes like an italicized N, which is interesting but weird at the same time. I want to try one more. I was just thinking about like if I just get rid of these angles. I do like I think this feels good. It brings in the characteristics, but oh shit. It doesn't like overwhelmingly modify the character. So that's what's on the site right now. Got some questions. That's okay. Yeah, for sure. Hit me. Looks like it looks great on the website. Oh, thank you. Like the weird N? Yeah, the N. There's something about this that I like, and I thought about like making it all like pixelated, italicized, um, which I think could be an interesting direction. I don't think it's right for this. I think given where the brand was, I I don't know if that'll really fly. No, I did all sorts of weird stuff to get this to work. Do this. So this is like, I'm starting and ideate in Sketch. Oh God. I'm using too much Figma. I don't remember my shortcuts. So if I take, I don't know if this is gonna work. Because I haven't quite measured out the gap. I mean, this is basically what I'm trying to do. So if I get it to there and there, but see, it's not even, it'd be nice if this was split up. Oh, it might. That's close. This is where I can modify the gap. But like, it just feels like too stair-steppy. It just looks like a like a lo-fi, and brings the step in, and now the step exists on every character to some degree. It's just like, I don't know. There are these angled lines that live throughout, so in some senses I went backwards because every character had the step or like the angled line to some degree. Now this one doesn't. Like, there are mix. No, there's no blend. This is like good to see. Like, I don't really think that's where I want to go, but I like keeping this kind of shit around. Just for like reference, I'll come back to it and be like, oh shit, yeah, I did try that. Kind of thinking like, this is feeling good. And like, this is something I'm gonna keep evolving. I'm just trying to get him signed off on changing the logo. This feels like Dan C gets lost. Yeah. I mean, that's some feedback that he got on the previous logo. I want to keep it from reading dance. Which to me, like, I don't know if I fully get, because there's 4 characters, so that immediately in my brain, and this is where like branding gets kind of weird to me, is like I have my experience and how I read things, but I don't want to pretend that's how everyone reads it. I mean, we're missing a character for dance, but that's feedback he got from a lot of people too. So I'm kind of curious, like, how to avoid that. I mean, do you see dance in all of this? I mean, not Cobbly, obviously, but I think yeah, I guess I get it. Yeah. This, I don't know. I guess that's one of those things. This, for some reason, I did read dance in my brain for some reason, so I think I get it. Definitely something to think about. I wanted to ask if you share tips on pricing your web design and development work. Kind of new in the space, so just wanted to hear your story on the business side of freelancing. Great question. How do I price? So I'm brand new to doing development for other people. The Tavarua website I was showing earlier, this one, that's really, really boring. Mostly because I was scared of scope creep and what that all means. Like for development. And I ran into a lot of problems in process that burned a lot of time for the Sissoko project. And so, but this one I'm doing basically free because I wanted to work with the photographer. There's like two photographers more or less running the brand. Um, and Ogale is the one who shot all this. This is his brand and like extremely talented. So I just wanted to work with them. So this isn't a great frame of reference. This one I'm doing as a trade. I'm gonna get time on the island. Like, if you see this picture, you kind of understand the value if you surf, or if you know Tabarua, you know there's a lot of value in being able to spend time there. So, and this is something I'm gonna evolve. Like, they do stints on there, so I'm gonna be like a long-term partner. So hopefully that means I can kind of keep coming back. So I guess the short version of that of my answer is like I don't have a great reference for development yet. Um, I'm not at a point in understanding a process where I feel totally comfortable like suggesting anything. Um, I don't like doing project-based, um, like having a I don't know, having pricing being associated with a deliverable because I think it's just so open to interpretation of like where does the responsibility stop? Whereas if it's time, it's like, yeah, I can do that too, but it's going to be like another couple days. It's going to have to fit into my schedule because once you assign like oh yeah, I'm going to create your website. It's like, oh shit, like it's everything. Um and with this like I did it for free and learned a lot, so it is what it is, but um it's like doing all the image optimization for their site. Like they have these 300 DPI shots they get from photographers, and I have to sit here and I have to do all the image production in order to optimize it. Otherwise, they're gonna have left to their own devices, they're gonna have a page that's probably like 200 megs to load. It's like, well, shit, there's like another hour, and I can do things like create droplets to streamline things, but um, that would be like if I had a suggestion, it's maybe look at it at an hourly until you could really understand it. And if you're working with people you know and kind of understand how they work, if you're coming in cold with people, like I don't know, I've just I've started to assume the worst in some senses of like people are very selfish and they don't. It's not that they're like being assholes about it, but they're in it for themselves and what they want. They want a finished product. They don't really care what my definition of like where my roles and responsibilities end. Like I don't blame them. Like I wish they cared, but they kind of don't. Um, and so that puts you in a position to be sort of taken advantage of in some senses. And that's what I'm trying to mitigate right now. Um, in terms of like establishing a value to tie to it, like I really don't know. Like for me, my sweet spot for freelancing has all been like art directions. Like coming into a project, it's either pre-sales or it's like a new project and they want like another take on, hey, here's the brand, here's like some creative liberties. This is what we want to do is make a site. So I do like art direction plus content strategy plus it's like all high level. Um, so that's kind of that world I can manage, and it's like okay, I have to deliver 3 art directions with homepage with any sort of animation. Like it's very tangible deliverables. But yeah, like full site stuff. I was just talking with someone about this yesterday. Like it's just yeah, you're prone to get taken advantage of, which really sucks. So if that doesn't help, like if I started trailing off and going in a random tangent, definitely feel free to ask follow up. But this is kind of what I found. Um, I also prefer only to work on day rates. Like I don't like splitting time between multiple projects. I'd want to just be like on one thing and committed to it and not like writing down the hour. Like that's one thing I hate about agencies was just doing like all my timesheets. I don't know, like you build me on this stuff. Like shouldn't you do it? Which I'm sure I'm sure everyone hated doing timesheets. The necessary evil. Um, yeah, I don't know about this N. I don't, you can't really read it properly. Oh, yeah, talking about this one. Yeah, I think the N is a point of contention for me. I do like this one. There's other explorations. Let me make sure I'm all caught up. Depending on market and product you're delivering. Yeah, also like, the market's always something to consider. Um, you're based in London, you do web design and development. Um, yeah, I think like who and what you're designing for and like understanding what that would cost them going to like an agency. Um, I mean, yeah, I've worked on a project, design and dev, where they said their budget for a website was $2,000. And like I don't know if that's like a indication of where we're at in terms of like the commoditization of design, because it's like, oh yeah, you want a website? Like, let's see, squarespace.com. I can get a template and hosting. And people don't really care about the details so much. Like the return on like really nuanced design is very low. Like this to me, like if you can get someone to get the right feeling, like it feels well put together, like you could do that with a Squarespace site. Could everything be done better? Absolutely. Um, but it's getting to a point now where it's like people are having a hard time justifying huge markups for agency work, and that's why that's turning into a race to the bottom, if you ask me. I've been out of that world a little bit, so I don't really know. Um, and Cathedral, I've been working with them, and I'm not going to talk about the way they work. Um, I don't think they have a very interesting business model, which I think is a little bit more evolved from like your traditional agency model. But so if like this is who you're, if you're pricing up against Squarespace and you're pricing up against like, I don't know, like the Instruments of the world or any of these bigger shops, Jam3, like their budgets are going to be huge because there's a lot of hand holding with it. So, but you're not always going to know what the pricing is for those, but you can be sure it's going to be a lot. So you can still make good money doing design and development, assuming you don't get caught in like murky expectations of what the deliverable is. And I mean, especially with like development, the the rabbit hole you can go down, um, of like a time suck is crazy on very simple like things that should be simple, and client and they don't know that they're asking for something super complex. But oh, I didn't even pull up my browser. That's good. Um, yeah, Squarespace. Um, yeah, I mean, like if you look at all the tools that are available, and it's just like award-winning templates. Here you go. Like I would argue this is good enough for most people. Like, yeah, it's pretty ham-fisted, but it's not that different. It's different to us, like people who design, but it's not different to the lay person. It's like you show anyone any of like the what is it, like the neo grotesque fonts, and they'll probably tell you that's Helvetica or Arial. And it's like for us, it's like, whoa, shit, like that's not even close. Are you crazy? But no one cares. We care. That's where I think we get caught designing for ourselves. See. Uh-oh. Whoopsies. You guys might want to figure that one out. Apparently didn't like Squarespace that much. Dang. Self-burn. I can't talk. There's so much shit outdated on my site. But they're also more than one person, so give me a design. Oh, this is interesting. This is like a pretty smart sell products. Where am I at in my process? Yeah, let's replace my site. Hmm. I mean, took me a second, but I was like, oh, that's actually pretty nice. Then I realized it's just the asset. Like they just designed a fake book cover and the actual site's dog shit. Oh, they got me. Stuff's so boring. I don't know. This is like a random side thing. ATD to branding of Sidemen brand. Side, Sidemen brand Side Plus? Found out they're killing it. Let's check this out. Sidemen. Interesting. Yeah, no. Also to piggyback on what I was talking about like scope and stuff like that. Like I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to become like a partner with brands. Like you guys run the brand, create the product, have the idea, like I'm gonna do the design, bring it to market. I'll do the branding, I'll do the web design, I'll do the content for it, I'll do any like audio for it, and content like photo and video. Can't do 3D yet. Yeah, so like if you can start offering like a full like creative package, like your value just keeps going up. Um, at least in some senses, like small to mid-sized businesses, like large businesses, they don't want everything. They've got vendors for everything. Um, this off. Bad. Yeah, I probably shouldn't. Um, so that's where, yeah, I'm kind of back in like doing shit for free. Like I don't have like a use case of collaboration that I like. So I'm having to take shit on for like a severe discount, flash free, and burning a lot of hours. But I think that might be a thing of the past. I will say like collaboration's been like demystified. Um, yeah, it's not what I thought it would be. There's a couple collaborations that I've really enjoyed, like Ari. I like working with Ari. Hopefully we're gonna do more together. Um, we've talked about it. There's my photo site. It's out in the wild, designed on here. Um, but yeah, I don't know when that's gonna happen. Hopefully soon. Holy shit, it's already 8. Let me make sure I don't have work emails coming through. I am technically full time. All right, not showing work emails on screen. Off to a good start. Jesus. Sorry, I like throw out schedules and give good reasons why we need to do something sooner, and they just like, oh yeah, let's do it not that time, without any context or explanation why. All right, glad I thought about that. As John said, do hourly basic, and if you're doing project based, know the competitor's price. People charge so much more than you think, so don't undermine your value. Yes, yes, yes. Know your value. Super important. Um, I can't stress that enough. It's hard because it's like I don't want to charge for what I do. Um, the- um, but it's like if it was easy, they'd do it themselves. Um, Yeah, like what we do has value. I know we always like I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for anyone else. I know I do it, and I know a lot of other developer or all like designers, developers do it, but just like undercut ourselves constantly and undersell what we do. But there is definitely value to it. So stick to it, hold on to it, like, and uh-oh, uh-oh. Um, huh, where, where is this coming from? Huh, good. Ah, here we go. I lost a ton of data on that input. I don't know. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, know your value, stick to it, and like if people don't want to pay what you're asking, like they're not the right person to work with. And if you keep getting no, then it's like, all right, maybe it's time to reevaluate your pricing model. It's not like the market can't support what you're asking for. Um, which, that's a reality. Times change. And like even for me right now, I'm looking at like literally everything's gone up in price for me. It's like rent, um, day-to-day costs. So I'm looking at adjusting my day rate based on just purely like inflation at this point. Other people seem to be doing it. Why aren't I doing it? Um, and I'm learning more things. I think I'm becoming more adept in certain areas of like branding, and I think I can bring more to the table. So it's kind of, I don't know. Um, oh shit, I shouldn't do that here. Yeah, understanding that like as I'm growing more, I should probably charge more. And one thing I took like it was so obvious when I read it, but I didn't think about it was um it is good about the project model, and that's why I think project model like project model pricing is like an ideal situation, but it does leave you open to all sorts of things. But I think it is good about is like it attaches a value to the deliverable, and then it really negates the amount of time that goes into it. Um, and like for me, when I was working at an old agency, I'm gonna stop naming names. Um, like the projects were scoped for someone more junior level to do it, and I could do it in about half the time. And like I was working remotely, I'd get up like I did this morning, get up at 7, just jam until like 10:30, and I was pretty much done for the day. And you can do that with freelance too. And it's not that you're phoning it in. You don't have to burn all those hours between like, oh, it's gonna take 2 weeks. I have to work the full 2 weeks to do it. No, you can bang it out in like 3 days and get like 2 weeks worth of pay in 3 days if you really want to. And that's not like that's like the fallacy that I started thinking about was um, I should be asking for less time and less budget to do that because it's easier for me. But it's only easier for me because I've done this for so long. Um, and so I was selling myself short of like, yeah, I could bang out a homepage in like a couple directions in like 3 days. But it's like, oh shit, usually that would take people like a week. So then I have to start upping my hourly, but then it's like, what's the cross section of all that? So that's where like pricing as a freelancer is super interesting as another kind of random tangent back to that. Making the shit look effortless. Thank you, Mason. Uh, I'm trying. Uh-oh. That's not the worried about. Yeah, definitely trying. I just like I'm yeah. I'm at a weird place now where it's like I know work is what makes me happy. Like I don't even see this as work, but I like the amount of shit I've kind of given up to do this. Um, makes it feel not so effortless, but like this shit makes me happy, so I don't really give a shit at the end of the day. Um, this shit's fun. I don't know where I was going. I had an idea, but I think coffee's wearing off a little bit. What about photo site? The old photo site. So I talked with Ari not too long ago. So those of you who don't know, OnStream designed this whole photo site with like a joystick framework. It started getting places like it works in theory. There's motion to it somewhere of like this centerpiece navigation structure. It's kind of weird. This is kind of what Ari wants to do, is like weird stuff. So I was like, well, shit. Came on stream, did it, and it works in theory. Have yet to play with it. I know Ari started developing some of it. I mean, it was super fun. I really liked doing like this kind of like UI type stuff is super fun if it makes sense, and it kind of makes sense. I think I bored people to tears on stream doing it of like, well, you know, this, what is this VPS? What does this scale mean? So I think it's like viewports per second is the unit, which makes no sense whatsoever, but what are you gonna do? And so yeah, I think like it's a little nerve-wracking having it out in the open. And not really having anything tangible happening with it. It's kind of like, hey, here's a free idea. Like, I hope no one does anything with this. So, but it's also like he had a good point of like there was something he did with Ben Mingo back in the day of like, see if I can find it. It's from a long time ago. I don't think he ever did anything with it, or he hasn't yet. Yeah, this thing, and it's the same sort of like, it's kind of like a simplified version of what I was trying to do. I didn't even like put it together. He told me this after, of like, yeah, we put this out and we still haven't done anything with it. But they both really like the idea. I think at least he likes the idea. I think Ben probably does too. I think it's smart and simple, and I really like it. But it's like putting a stake in the ground of like, yeah, this is our idea. It's out there in the public. We haven't executed on it to a point where it's actually live, but if anyone does, they'll be quick to for people to realize like it was just straight up copied. That's kind of what maybe this is. I don't think I have the visibility that he does, so um but yeah, so there's something with the zooming. Let's see if I can pull up. I haven't looked at this in ages. Let's see. Pull it up. Web. Photo site. Photo sketch. Input. Photo site. Yeah. It's been a minute since I looked at this. Ooh, yeah, there's some things I want to update. What am I thinking there? Don't know. Is that a dot? Symbol. Oh yeah, all the symbols and instances. I don't know where that thing was. Oh, there's the whole tab system too. I forgot about that. I'm actually kind of happy about how that turned out. Oh, this is another nested. Fix this. The idea is like the old like functional switches. Um, yeah, there's something with so distracted. Man, it still looks, why's it all messed up? Oh, I know why. I go. Sorry. I gotta fix some of this stuff while I'm here. I have like this. Is that not really gonna work? It's not. Sorry, random aside. There we go. I didn't know this, but you can assign a shortcut for reverting symbols back to the original size. Which is this? Edit source. Oh, I just literally was right next to it and didn't even see that this was doing this. I'll swear I'll get to my point at some point. All right, so the whole idea is that it's just like this big space. I don't know if we're gonna do this sort of line shit. That's like going back to the UI, trying to tie them together. We're gonna figure out if we're gonna do that. The idea being it's like you can just like zoom in, zoom out at all times. So it's very fluid when you're kind of like in and out of these photos. Where there's like a preload to click into it and get the details so you can see like higher res type stuff, different states, like you're panning around. Having all sorts of like tech UI type shit, having it minimized. But there's something in the way that like with WebGL computing zoom, apparently it's all in triangles of some sort. So how you zoom things with this configuration apparently is not straightforward at all. So yeah, he sat down with some friend who's like a mathematician over the weekend. They had like a brainstorming of like, hey, we need to use some sort of math to figure this shit out. How can we do it? And I don't know if they had an answer. I think he had like 2 sessions with them and they didn't figure it out or they didn't crack it at that point. So, and he's got other stuff. He's got a lot of irons in the fire right now and he's working on a million things as always. So, all the stories and stuff like that. Oh, I do not want to use that font. This stuff feels dated. This one feels good. This one is just lazy as shit. I don't like that at all. Mix it up with the fonts a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's no ETA on this. Hopefully someday. But then, yeah, the other part I never really figured out is how this lives with my existing site. It's just like, well, here's a link out. Yeah. Oh shit, I closed it. It's still. I guess I've kind of like devolved into rambling, so um I'm not I think I've tried one variation of this, which is great. Like I'm happy people are here even with all the time off I've been taking from streaming. So thank you to everyone who came through. I can probably could do another 20, 30 minutes maybe. I might need to get more coffee in a second. Sure. Caught up. Crazy, how can you just crazy how you can just tell that this is what I want. He can create it. That guy's crazy. I was there. Yeah. Is that your brain melting with those what are they called? I don't know, jeez. Oh my God, I'm so old. You know what I'm saying. Emotes. There we go. God. Yeah, it's probably melting people's brains doing that. But yeah, I mean that's to the level of I think there's going to be more states I need to give him. There's a lot of conversations that we have in order to get him on the same page of like how I envision something acting. But that's the beauty of working with Ari. It's like I don't have to like give him tons of little details. He can interpret things and like if he doesn't get it or if he misses anything, I give him notes after the fact and like he builds things in such a way that he can go back and like modify it usually pretty easily, but not always. But yeah, it's wild. That's why I love working with them. It's just like so effortless in some senses. Uh-oh. I'm still trying to figure out how this stacks. I like that this is mirrored, but there's no step. Where'd my step go? It. If you don't mind me asking, what was your experience like at Apple, the hiring process, etc.? Apple was it was good. I hated it at first, like I was saying earlier. Um, this thing's like choking me. It's cold as hell in my room. The heater doesn't come in here. Um, yeah, I mean, hiring process is pretty exhaustive. I think I had like 3 phone interviews, and then they flew me up there, and I had 6 hours. Yeah, I had like a 6 hour day where they just basically like put me in a conference room and just like had people come in and talk to me. Um, so yeah, they do their due diligence. And people there tend to know a lot of people, so they almost kind of know you to some degree before they even talk to you. Working there is, so I was on the launch team, so it was all like everything on .com. Like if a new, like I worked on some of the old Apple Watch sites. Um, what else did I work on? Worked on the iPad one more recently, but it was like a sub page, not not my favorite. Kind of got caught. Yeah, it was like an IT problem, put me on the secondary page. It was a bummer. Um, but yeah, it's like very specialized. There's a million cooks in the kitchen. Like they have this whole system to vet everything to make sure um, that it's Apple. That's their whole thing. I went there thinking I was gonna like reinvent the wheel, and did not, as you could probably tell. Fuck, what? Coming with it. Um, sorry, I can only do one thing at a time sometimes. Um, so yeah, it can be a little exhausting with having everything kind of go through the grinder, so to speak. Um, yeah, because like you have reviews with your team, then you get into um, you go into like the team above that, then you go to like product managers, and then you go to the creative directors, then you go to the global creative directors, then you go to like the VP level, and like at any point you have to like start laddering things up, and like at any point like the reset button could be hit, which is kind of nerve-wracking because I mean I've seen projects like make it to the VP level and suddenly they're like someone at the VP level is like, nope, not liking this. This is not right. Um, oh God. Well, this is just proof of concept at this point, so it's okay. Um, yeah, in which case that sends people into like a tailspin, which is not fun. It's hard on myself. Um, so yeah, stuff like that can be a little maddening, and this is maddening trying to do vector shapes in Sketch. I don't recommend it. What is this? Um, yeah, and like if you're used to doing art direction, um, I'd argue you're not really doing traditional art direction there. It's like your sandbox is a little smaller. Um, but yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone there is like insanely talented. Um, so you get to collaborate on all sorts of crazy shit that, and like you can execute things to the level of detail you wish you could at an agency. Um, at an agency, everything's like so stick and move, and everything's like down to like it's a numbers game with the budget, and you're trying to like kind of get things done as efficiently as possible. Like where you don't really have the luxury to go back and like that was always the running joke was like pushing things to phase two. It's like there is no phase two. There's no budget for a phase two. There's no time for a phase two. And it's not to say like at Apple I was able to do everything I wanted to do. There were still budget constraints there, which is kind of crazy for a trillion-dollar company, but it is the reality of it. Um, so yeah, like you don't escape some of those hard realities of um, of like budget constraints at trillion-dollar companies. As wild as that is to have come out of my mouth, that is true. Um, I remember this problem. Kind of interesting and abstract if you mash it all together. I think it should get this to match this. I don't know if you had any other specific questions about Apple. It's definitely some things I probably can't talk about, but I think stuff like that's pretty fair game. It was cool though. I really can't speak highly enough of oh boy. Look at that. Don't judge me. This is the testing phase. Hmm. Oh, text message. What's going on here? Oh, got surf report. Waves look like shit. Didn't miss a thing today. That's good. Um, I'm starting to feel decent about this. I just think the ends it's too much. Mohammed, yo, coming through, man. Yeah, I feel like at this point I'm slowly working in the background, but it's great. There's tons of questions. Like I'm happy. I love chatting about this stuff with you guys. So hit me with whatever. Photo design, web development. I don't think I should answer music production questions yet. There yet. But that's gonna become a huge focus. Oh man, I can't wait to get back to that. I basically turned down a full-time thing in order to go back to freelance and have time off. It was like trying to figure out something with full-time where there's time off baked in, and that's just not a realistic ask of a company. Like they're trying to figure out resourcing, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to take like 2 months off. Uh, yeah, we can't do that. We need someone for this project. It's like, well, sorry. So yeah, I think I'm missing out on like good equity and long term upside for doing shit like music production. Um, I missed what you guys were talking about. Oh yeah, we've been all over to this morning. Um, where haven't we gone this morning? Not so far. I've been rambling through photo websites, through some of the stuff I just launched, stuff that's upcoming, trying to work on this branding. Um, yeah, one thing I want to figure out is like how to soften this. The best way I could do it. I could pull up After Effects, kind of like what I was alluding to before. I was trying like this pixel mosh, data mosh of like rainbow. It was actually like pre-data moshed, but then I want to add some stuff on top of it. I got some plugins. Oh, but I think I lost them. As good as that sounds. I use AE scripts like manage plugin manager and I lost a bunch of stuff. 0 for 1, that file couldn't be found. Yeah. I don't think I have. Do I have After Effects? Don't have it set up. Let's see where here. This is probably not going to turn it. I don't even know if I can find the plugin, so this might be a waste of time too. But like trying to mask stuff, do the logo, and then have like an alpha channel export. But I can't find any of my plugins. Oh, pixel encoder, is this? Ah, I wonder if I duplicate this. Wait, this. This is alpha master. There's so much confusion in what I do on a day-to-day basis. So this is this. Good. This be. I don't understand what that's about. Out of here. This should be the logo. If I do pixel encoder on this, maybe set it to multiply. Yeah. Something like exclusion could be interesting. This is like out of the box settings though. I think that pattern has become too recognizable. Now we're getting weird. Yeah. Yeah. So this is like a trimmed loop from like this video goes on for so long. I was looking at like, is it masked to the logo or is it inverted behind it? So it's like a canvas. So let's see if I can keep my brain organized here. Streaming. Chrome. Doing this. So like you hover over this and it's just like the background is just like I don't know if it's going to be like a video. There's like a background video I hide, or if I just lean into like the lo-fi version. Oh, see, yeah. Oh, and then just like animating little things like this, like pattern size. Oh, good God. Not having the effect I thought it would. Just like scaling. Enable scale lock. All right, I think I solved some questions. Oh, I'm not even in the. It's like trying to animate the scale of the effect, and it's basically just like scaling it up, which is really dumb, so I don't want to do that. Bring some chaos into it. This is where like I don't really know these plugins well enough to have like a straight line. Little chaos, please. Now we're getting like... Yeah, we're getting sufficiently weird. Were there any good learning sources that helped you make Jw.S, or was it kind of by feel? You inspired me to finally make my own type too. Hey, nice, man. Were there any resources? A lot of YouTube videos. Yeah, YouTube videos. I think so. I use FontLab. I'm trying to think. I think they have like a really good database of like support. The like was a huge resource pool for FontLab, and I'm just scratching the surface. Like I'm still kind of wrapping my head around font creation. But yeah, a lot of it. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think there were a ton of YouTube videos. Like there's some long, like no one makes YouTube videos for FontLab that are like, hey, are you trying to do this? Like, here's this in 30 seconds. It's like introduction to FontLab, and it'll be like buried 20 minutes in. So you kind of have to like put it on in the background of like, all right, I'm trying to understand how kerning pairings work. I have to sit here and listen to all of it and like try and figure out how I can use it for my own stuff. Which is, you know, a little frustrating sometimes. Yeah, I don't think there are a ton of like FontLab puts together a YouTube channel for it. A lot of guess and check. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I know this is not wildly helpful. I just checked their YouTube channel and just kind of strap in for like, you know, you're gonna get the broader topic, which is good because then you get a holistic picture of kerning pairings and how you can use it in different things. And I don't know. FontLab still escapes me. There's certain things about like drawing characters in FontLab that doesn't seem natural to me. Like my brain and like the layers, it doesn't quite. I think the selection tool is what gets me the most, and I'm on FontLab 6, 7. What am I on? 6. I haven't upgraded to 7. But one thing I really want to do is learn how to do like a variable font. That would be nice. Yeah. What is the logo for? So yeah, Mohammed, this is we're kind of going through this a little bit earlier, but a surfboard company. So his name's Dan Cobley, and it got shortened to Dan C, which then became Dank, as all the kids would say. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, working through some of the branding of that, and then how do I bring some colors in? I think if I do inverted map, yeah, so that's putting it to the background. I just need this to go to the background. Now it's like more of like a background texture. Why'd that go to render queue? Yeah, one thing like I was trying to look for a source video of it, and I didn't get any of it when I was shooting. But when you do like resin swirls and stuff like that, because he does a lot of like he does glass or no, it doesn't do full glassing. Probably be specific to my words. Yeah, when you mix the colors, it creates like this. I mean, you've probably all seen it. Resin swirl. Ooh, looks like my computer's chugging a little bit. Yeah, like this kind of stuff. Using this as a basis, I think could be kind of interesting. I don't know if my computer's... It's not having a good time right now. I don't think it likes After Effects and streaming, but yeah, so like whatever the source material is for this background, this might be a little too like tech. And yes, it's bringing rainbows in, but it's like, it's so distorted and like, again, tech. I don't think this is really helping my cause very much. I think it's probably making it worse. Dots? Yeah. Vertical lines? I mean, I'm definitely just exploring with this stuff. But what's nice about like these plugins is I can use fairly, what is, affects me slow down preview and export is not optimized for frame. Yeah, with like these pixel encoders and stuff like that, I can take pretty low res source film and then it's like recalculating it and it'll make it crisp for whatever size I need it. Because I'm using someone else's footage, but what's been created is like a full reprocessing of that. So um, it can be kind of nice. John, could you see the Nifty portal site before going? Yeah, Nifty portal. Oh, I did see this on the tab. Or on the, what is it, Muesli? Yeah, Muesli first page. On the same line, same thoughts about the NFT phase. Same line, same thoughts on the NFT, please. NFTs, not a world I fully understand. And there's some really cool stuff going on here. I'm a sucker for all this like little like details with the load in. A little crazy. I don't really want to take anything in. We're going to Twitter. NFTs in general, I think there's a lot of promise to it. There's been a lot of just snake oil salesmen, pump and dump schemes. I like that. It's really cool. I mean, all these little, it's a bit much sometimes, like having everything redraw. I love it, but I don't want to like take any information. I've taken in zero information from this page. Probably because I'm looking at it through the lens of design and like I'm just nerding out on that stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, this is at the end of the day not very legible. But that's, I don't think they really give a shit about legibility. I wish there was more to NFTs. I minted one NFT and it sat there. It was like right at the peak of like the NFT craze, I guess you could say. Damn, this is really cool. How the fuck did they do that? What? That morphing of this, like, I don't think you can see my cursor. Yeah, you can't. That's really cool. Um, yeah, so mine sat unknowingly. Yeah, actually, I'm not gonna talk about that. Yeah, it'd be great. Like, as someone who wants to create for a living and doesn't want to be beholden to clients, I saw it as a potential avenue for um, just to like supplement what I want to do. It's like I can be more of an artist versus like a designer. Like designer, I think I'm more beholden to clients. I saw it as like a, I don't know. I saw it as a way to like keep freelance and keep more independent and keep doing more art. Um, but there seems to be a whole, I don't know, the method in which like people create buzz. It seems like there's a lot of bullshit that goes on with that. In terms of like, I don't know, how some communities get behind things and it's immediately valuable, but is it valuable? It's just like this, that, then it starts feeling like a scheme of some sort. Oh yeah, I do not want way. Um, So yeah, I don't know. I'm like still wrapping my head around um, the NFT world. The promise is there. There's so much cool shit that can go with it, but it's like anything new, it's kind of like the Wild West right now. And I think people are prone to be taken advantage of. I mean, there's endless stories of people being taken advantage of. I was just, yeah, I don't know, random tangents watching things about Bitcoin last night. About how the whole, I don't know if it's still relevant. It was kind of an older thing about how the whole market could be tanked if the founder of Bitcoin decides to sell his Bitcoin. It just tank the market, which is kind of weird. Um, but yeah, I want to do more with it, but I just haven't seen anything materialize for me yet. And I don't know how much energy I should put into it. There's so much other stuff I want to do. Um, yeah. Scroll trigger and d3.js. Did you do this one, Vixio? Fuck, I keep clicking. Mr. Glocks, yo, I'm good, man. How are you doing? You're coming through. Unfortunately, I gotta get out of here pretty soon. Gotta keep the lights on, stream going. The speculation with NFT is really dangerous. Yes, it really is. And I think, I mean, how value is established in this market is not something I understand in the least. Like the shit that sells, I'm like, this is trash. And it's selling for, like, why is this like 5 ETH? I don't get it. I mean, it's probably because the artist has some value or has vision. Like, if you haven't, I do not listen to a lot of podcasts, but my brother sent me one, um, because I've gone back and forth in terms of like selling my art, being frustrated with the lack of resonance sometimes. Um, and why do other people have resonance? Like, how is art value determined? Um, if you listen to Freakonomics, there's a good 3-part series talking about how just like the workings of the art market and how value is determined and how it's very arbitrary, and it's interesting of like who ends up benefiting the most from art, um, and how NFTs are sort of fixing some of those problems. It's like, I mean, one of the biggest things is like a lot of artists to this point, their value of their art was like nothing. There were, I don't remember the artist's name. They mentioned them quite a lot, but it's been a little while since I heard it. But basically, how the artist couldn't sell prints for more than like $200. They would be so stoked if they could sell something for a couple $100, and they're all just like these portraits. But the thing was that they were ahead of the time in terms of like the commentary, and so then it became valuable after their death, and now they're selling for like $2 million, and it's like who's benefiting from this at this point? And it's not the artist. The artist is dead. They lived in borderline poverty while they were creating their art, but suddenly now that they're dead, the people making the money are the collectors and the galleries. Um, so that's what I really like about NFTs is the fact that like if something resells in the secondary market, the original creator gets a percentage of that, which I think that's how it should be. I don't think, I mean, I get why traditionally that hasn't been the case. Um, but I think baking it into it is a nice way of, um, I don't know, artists retaining their work to some capacity, and the value of it, not just watching speculators. I mean, a lot of people like manipulate the market. They talk about how people who with a collection of a certain artist, they'll go pay for their own, they'll bid on their own work just to drive up the price, basically. So, like, let's say whatever bad, and
I don't have this contact. Would you like to call?
anyways, like, uh, like Dibercato, whoever that is, like, um, like let's say someone owns like Badass Vault. Let's say they own like 5 pieces of Dibricado. They'll go and just drive up the cost, drive up the price on a bid. Even if they win it themselves, they don't care because they're setting a precedent of the value of that artist. Of like, oh yeah, those other pieces they sold for like 3 ETH. I'm not saying this happens as it probably happens in this market, but it seems to happen a lot in like the traditional sort of art auction sort of world, which yeah, it's I don't know, it's so greasy. And I just like I'm kind of naive and don't want to mess around and like I don't know. I just want to do the work. I don't want to worry about like generating hype or creating resonance. It's like here's the work, like it or don't like it. But the art market's not that simple at the end of the day. These are pretty cool. Yeah, that's my little rant. Thanks for passing by on my Tuesday stream. Wasn't really productive. Hey, yeah, this morning hasn't been the most productive, but that's all right, man. Yeah, I've been meaning to stop by your stream for a while. I just like these mornings, I tend to get tunnel vision on all this stuff I want to do because I'm working full time and I haven't really had weekends to spend. So it's like, oh shit, I better go heads down. Yeah, dug the stream, man. It's good. It's great to see kind of how you think and how other people are talking about their work. Yeah, I just need to watch more streams in general. I'll be very honest that I'm not that proud of it, but I watch like Call of Duty streamers pretty regularly. I put it on the background and like some of the people who do these streams are like they're really good at video games and they're very entertaining, but my God, they are dense. There's one they did like a name that state game on like on I don't know, it was like some game that was online. It was like trying to pick like name states and like they couldn't name it was I can't remember what it was. It wasn't like Texas, but it was really bad. It's like Connecticut and Rhode Island, like okay, you can if you're not from the East Coast, you can mix those up. But man, they're like yeah, it's funny. Um but yeah, I definitely want to pop into your stream more often, man. I am going to make a point of it. But I probably need to jump off of here, unfortunately. Yeah. Not the most productive stream, but super fun. And glad to hear that glad to see the time off hasn't like scared people away from coming through. It'd be really fun to get this more consistent. And I don't know, like I really am flying blind here. I don't know what the best way to go about this is. If it's like I've taken the thumbnails off of the YouTube stream. I just don't have time to produce those every day. I don't think I'm gonna put any sort of a clear objective. Sometimes I'll come in and I'll just want to grind and get stuff done. Or there's days like today where it's like I have an idea of what I want to do, but if I get nothing done, if I don't get anything done, I'm good. So yep, can't see that. Yeah, Google Fonts. So yeah, I'll be back Thursday, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I could probably do another morning stream tomorrow. I don't think I have anything going, so you can hold me to it. I'm gonna come through. I'm gonna try and have a little bit more productive morning tomorrow. But yeah, thank you everyone who came through. Mario, nice to see you too. Thank you everyone. Great questions, and yeah, if you have anything you want me to take a look at tomorrow morning or wherever time that is where you're at, definitely feel free to come through, lob it over. And I'll probably rant and ramble and do random tangents. I'm gonna try and figure out music too, so I can like play music and not have it get me DMCA'd. So, all right, everyone, have a great day, and I will